Hello my friends, Stephanie here, and I'm back with more movie chatter. And what I have for you today are two movie reviews. Now these are two new releases that are available as of tomorrow. That's Tuesday, May 25th. They're both from Paramount, and they were sent over to me from Paramount for review, so I want to thank them for continuing to send me review copies and also just supporting physical media in general by continuing to put out physical media releases that we can pick up, collect, and enjoy. The first one is from writer-director J.J. Abrams and producer Steven Spielberg, and it is 2011's Super 8. Now, if you've seen Super 8, you know the second you turn this on, it is just so filled with nostalgia. It's going to take you right back. This is one that I've always enjoyed. Hadn't seen it in a few years, and as soon as I started watching it, I had the biggest smile on my face because I went right back. If you haven't seen it, if you're a fan of shows like Stranger Things, that type of thing, you're going to love this. It'll be right up your alley. Basic plot synopsis is we have a group of middle school aged friends that are really into filmmaking, which is one of the things that makes this film so cool. And they decide, the one kid's really into the camera work, and then there's another kid that's really into makeup and special effects. And they make this plan that they are going to go and shoot a night shot at the train station in town. So they go to the train station and they're shooting the scene, and they notice a train is coming in the background, and they decide to include it in the shot that they're doing. Well, the train derails, there's a horrible accident, there's stuff flying all over, and what happens is over the next few days, really bizarre things start happening around town. Things are going missing. People are trying to figure out what happened, what's going on, and that's all I'm going to tell you, because if you haven't seen it, I don't want to ruin it for you, but it's definitely got that supernatural vibe to it, and it's just a lot of fun. So that's the basic plot synopsis, and like I said, I would really find it hard to find anyone who just couldn't sit back and just enjoy this. Now, the way I do my 4K reviews is I do it from the perspective of, like, say, the average consumer, because that's what I am. As far as, I know a lot of people are really into the techs and the specs and the behind-the-scenes stuff, and there are people that would do that far better than I would, so I don't really get that into that end of things. But I can tell you from my experience how it looked and how it sounded to me, and if I think it looks and sounds good, then I give it a go. So that's how mine work. Now, I watched both of these on the same setup, and the setup is, it's 55-inch LG OLED TV, and I use a Panasonic UB820 4K player, and I always have my 4K player set on the same, it has an HDR toggle, that particular player, and I have it on the second one, which I believe is natural. There's 4 settings. I found one that I liked way in the beginning, and I've never changed it. So I don't screw around with any of the settings or anything to try and make review copies look better. It's an even playing ground. The only thing I change when I watch is the volume. I change the volume up and down as needed. That's it. So I feel like that's a fair way to compare everything. And as far as the video quality, now the 2011 Blu-ray I don't think looked bad at all. But this is definitely a nice uptick from that. You have a lot of really dark shots in this particular movie. You have night shots, you have low light shots in restaurants and things like that. And that's where I found that the dark darks really made the colors pop, and it made things easier to make out in the darker scenes, the low light scenes. And I think that it really showed how much help the 4K gave to those dark shots, because by having, like, when you think about the explosions, you have like that dark night sky, and then you have these massive colorful explosions. It's such a contrast that it just pops off the screen. And like when you have characters in a low light situation, you can just make out a lot more detail, and there's a lot more clarity that maybe wouldn't have looked like that on the Blu-ray. Now, as far as the daytime shots, I thought that everything was a lot more crisp and clear and colorful. Colors were brighter, skies were brighter, greens were brighter, like the trees and grass, things like that. Things were brighter. I thought everything was really very well defined. I didn't see any kind of blurred edges or anything like that. Now again, this is subjective because other people might see little details that maybe I didn't pick up, but I thought it looked great. I had no problem making out like even like the pores on people's faces or hair on the head or details on clothing and things like that. Those are the things I look for, even details on buildings, any kind of thing that you can pick out a detail from, I was looking for, and I had no problem making out those sharpness and those, you know, those sharp edges on things, on buildings, on people, you know, whatever. I thought it looked great, and like I said, the colors pop, and especially like that train wreck scene is crazy. So I just think that the visual quality is really, really good, and I think it's a really nice uptick from the Blu-ray. Now, as far as the sound, they didn't change the sound. They ported it over from the 2011 Blu-ray, and it's a 7.1. It's a Dolby, what do they call it? Dolby True HD. And I thought it sounded fantastic. I don't think they needed to change anything, because I don't think you lost anything by not having a new Atmos track. This rocked my home theater system. I mean, there was a point when, I forget what was happening, probably like the train accident, but I looked around, my dogs were sitting with me, they were shaking. I had to actually turn it down because it was just cranking my home theater. The bass is there, the sound is there, the clarity is there, everything is clear, the dialogue comes out of that center channel super clear, and everything is very well defined. So I thought the sound mixing was really, really good, and I thought it was really powerful where it needed to be, and like I said, super crisp and clear, and I was very happy with it. So all around, I would say that this is a go if you're thinking, like if you're on the fence about upgrading, if you have the Blu-ray. I think it's a worthwhile upgrade from the Blu-ray, even though the Blu-ray, like I said, was a good one. If you're coming from something like a DVD, this is going to be a massive upgrade for you. And either way, I don't think you're going to be disappointed in this at all if you're a fan, especially if you're a fan of the movie like I am. Now, as far as the special features, those were also ported over from the previous Blu-ray, so there's nothing new as far as special features. And the price point on this one is, the suggested price point is $19.99, and I believe the reason for that is because what you get is you get the 4K disc and you get a digital copy. There's no Blu-ray disc included, so if you don't own a 4K player or you don't plan on upgrading to a 4K player, you might want to take a pass on this. If you're planning on upgrading to 4K and you just want to future-proof and you want to grab it while it's out here, then go ahead and pick it up. But just, I like people to know that if you're not going to get the Blu-ray with it. The other thing is the packaging options. You have the slipcase variant, which is this one, and then Best Buy has an exclusive steelbook, which looks really, really nice. There's some unboxings online if you want to look for that. It looks beautiful. I haven't seen it in person, but the unboxings that I saw look really, really good. And I'm sure Zavvi will probably have the same one for people in the UK and elsewhere. So yeah, I would say for $19.99 US dollars, this is well worth the upgrade, and I would go for it. So even, like, you know, my test is always, if I didn't get the review copy, would I buy it? Yes, I would go out and buy it. So that's my thoughts on Super 8, and then we are going to move on to My Fair Lady. Okay, so next we have 1964's My Fair Lady. It stars Audrey Hepburn and Rex Harrison. Audrey Hepburn plays Eliza Doolittle. Rex Harrison plays Professor Higgins. And this is an adaptation of a play, if you're not familiar with it. It is a musical, and it is long. It is nearly 3 hours as far as the runtime. And if you haven't seen it before, basic plot synopsis is Audrey Hepburn plays Eliza Doolittle, who is this gal who, she works along the streets and she sells flowers to people. And she is she's very sassy, she's very unrefined, she's undignified. She's just, you know, she's out there doing her thing. She's a little sarcastic, she's fresh, and this Professor Higgins comes along and he makes a wager, and he says if he has time to work with her, he can make her the type of lady that would be acceptable to even the highest of society. And that's the basic plot synopsis. And he's just not a very nice guy. He's very condescending, very rude, and he is convinced that if he has a chance to work with her, he can make her into the perfect lady. And that's our story. So if you weren't familiar with the plot, now you know. If you are a fan of plays, a fan of musicals, a fan of Audrey Hepburn, this is an absolute classic and a must-have in any collection for people who like this genre of film. Now, I know I said I don't get into the text and tech specs, but there's some pretty amazing stuff written on the back of this, so my spec junkies will be very happy to hear this. It says, the breathtaking musical extravaganza shines in beautiful 4K UHD restored from 8K scans of the original 65mm elements. So they shot it on 65mm, they upscaled it to 8K, and then they downscaled it to 4K, which is what you get here. And then they have a bit about the audio, and I didn't know how impressive this was. I looked it up and learned a little bit. Anyway, it says with 96K resolution English 7.1 Dolby True HD audio. That is a pretty impressive number, because what I read is that I guess the normal range for audio is like in the 40s or something like that, and this is up at 96K. So you guys would probably know better than I if you're an audiophile. So yeah, the look and the sound is amazing. Now, as far as the video quality, I watched it on the exact same setup as I did Super 8, and I have to tell you, this is near perfection as far as the video quality. It is a beautiful, beautiful 4K transfer. It's a timepiece, so you have a lot of costumes, a lot of elaborate clothing, and you can make out every detail, every fiber, every piece of anything on any clothing, any costume. It's perfect. The colors are very natural, like skin tones are natural, whites are white, blacks are black. The colors look very accurate. It didn't look like anything was like overdone, oversaturated or anything like that. Everything looked really, really good. I was just amazed. And like when you have outdoor night scenes, there's really good clarity. You can see details in buildings and roads and things like that. There was no problem with any sort of definition or clarity. There was very sharp edges where they needed to be. And like I said, the colors just pop and they look really good, really natural. And I don't know what else to say about it. It's just perfect. It's a beautiful transfer. And I have watched a lot of 4Ks. I've seen a lot of good transfers. And this is definitely one of the best, if not the best transfer I have ever seen. And that's pretty much all I can say about it. It's amazing. It's an impeccable transfer. So I would defy anyone to say otherwise, because even if you don't like the movie, the transfer, you can't argue that the transfer it's near perfection. And as far as the audio quality, again, I thought the audio quality was great. There's good separation between all the speakers. The vocals are clear out of the center channel, and then when they get to the musical numbers, it's total immersive experience. It's all around you, and the sound is great. It's a very balanced sound, and I just thought it was great. I didn't think there was any need, like again, for an Atmos track. I thought that what they did with the audio was great. So I would give this like an A+ all around. And if you're a fan of if you're a fan of My Fair Lady, or if you're a fan of musicals, this is definitely a must pick up. It's like a day one purchase from my perspective. Again, this one is at $19.99, the same price point as the other. The extra features on here have been previously released, and this is the slipbox variant. I don't know of any steelbooks yet. They haven't been announced. If there are, they're not at Best Buy or anything like that. If I don't know if Zavvi or anyone else is going to do anything, but I haven't heard anything as of today's video. Again, just have the artwork here, and then there's a digital copy, and you'll see that you have a Blu-ray disc and a 4K disc. But the movie is only in 4K. This Blu-ray disc does not include the movie. It's all special features. It's over 2 hours of special features. So again, I just want to let you know that if you don't have a 4K player, I like people to know that you're not getting the Blu-ray movie when you buy this. But if you are planning on upgrading to 4K at any time, getting a 4K player at any time, then this would definitely be one to add to your collection. But like I said, if you don't have 4K capability right now, you're not going to be able to watch it. So that is my review of My Fair Lady. Highest recommendations for that one. So those are the reviews that I have for you today. I hope you find these helpful when you're trying to make decisions of what you want to pick up, or what you want to wait on. I would say both of these are a go. If they weren't, I would tell you. I try to be as fair and honest as I can here. But again, I want to thank Paramount for sending them over to me to check out. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up, comment, suggestion, recommendations. As always, feel free to subscribe if you enjoy this type of content, and hit the bell so you're notified when I upload videos. And I have recorded a couple videos today that I'm going to post during the week. We're coming up on the big Memorial Day weekend, so I have some fun content, like summer type content that I filmed, which hopefully you guys will enjoy. And I'm going to be back a few times this week, so you get to see me a few more times. Anyway, I want to thank you guys once again. Enjoy the rest of your night, and for today, that's a wrap.